Down the Road Show is a product of Murdoch Worldwide Entertainment. Down the Road Show. This is entertainment all up in your face.
I have a quick question. I've studied humanities and sociology for a long time, and I've been wondering, a lot of your comics, especially let's say X-Men, things like that, they tackle very big issues. Usually big issues that concern civil rights, the treatment of others and things such as that. I was wondering if at all were those like major roles or they really, I guess, surmounted or they built up that those roles or those characters, like X-Men would say for that. Would you say that civil rights or things such as that, qualities, things like that, were major drives in making it?
No, it's the funniest thing. I hear the voice, and I hear, could you say that, and that's what it sounds like. It's this damn microphone. If somebody talks to me, not with the mic, it's clear to me, but this does something in my ears that it muffles everything. Anyway, you're not interested in my ailments, so. Secondarily, the first thing I would ever think of is what can I write, what can I come up with that people will be interested in, what kind of superpowers can I get that people would care about, and how do I make the characters the kind of characters that a reader can relate to. Once that's established, then you say to yourself, okay, what kind of stories am I going to tell? Where can I get a good villain, which is as important or more important than the heroes, the villains. And then you start to write the story, and you say to yourself, well, gosh, here are these good guys, and nobody likes them, and they're really doing the best they can, but people hate them because they're different. And I thought to myself, that really reflects on society, where people hate other people because they have a different religion, or they're from a different nationality, or because a blonde hates a redhead, or who knows why, anybody who's different. And I thought that would be a good thing to play up in the series, but when I shouldn't say play up, to mention, to add in the series, but not hit anybody over the head with it. So I tried to make it a theme that any thinking person might be aware of it without making it seem as though the stories are lectures, because nobody likes to be lectured to. In fact, I can see how bored you're all getting now as I'm talking on and lecturing, and I'll stop, I promise. Okay, it was nice. Good night.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm really short, sorry. This question is actually coming from myself and my 14-year-old nephew, Kylie, who could not be here.
It's important that we know who the question is coming from. What is your nephew's name?
Kylie Kellerman.
Okay, continue.
So, okay. He has a question, and it started to, go in my mind. What is the Spider-Man comic book that stands out the most in your mind out of all the comic books that you have made, and why?
Well, I heard that whole thing. I see if people are females, they have a higher...
So what you're saying is that you can hear females, but not males. That's interesting to me.
I went to that after the joke. That's right. You didn't think this was turning into a medical conclave, did you? Anyway, I don't have one story that stands out in my mind, but it's funny, there's one cover that does. And my favorite Spider-Man cover is when he decided to stop being Spider-Man. And I think we called it, the name of it was Spider-Man No More. And it shows him in his civilian clothes walking away from the reader in an alley, and there's a garbage pail, a trash can, and his Spider-Man costume is draped over the trash can. And I asked John Romita to draw something like that. And I think what he drew was a masterpiece. And strangely, every time I think of Spider-Man, that's the cover I think of. So maybe that, I don't even remember the story that well, but maybe that's my favorite story because of the cover.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What you mean is drink and shut up a while and let you do something. This is the nicest guy. You know, he is so tolerant. I wouldn't stand anybody being like that if I was up here. This is your cover. That's what I mean, you're tolerant.
But who inspired you to come up with the Hulk, and how did you come up with him?
You know, I really am not a guy who gets inspirations. Some people imagine that sometimes writers walk in the street and suddenly, I've got an inspiration. I never get inspirations. Somebody says, we need a new story, so I go home and I sit and I scratch my head and I try to think of one. With the Hulk, we had already done Spider-Man, and I think we had done X-Men. I think the Hulk might have been third, I'm not sure. But we needed something else. And I said what everybody says, what can I do that's different? We already had a guy who could burst into flame and fly. We had a guy whose body stretched. We had the strongest guy around, you know, the usual. And I figured, I gotta get something different. So I remembered, I had always liked the Frankenstein movie with Boris Karloff. I always thought that the monster was really the good guy. He didn't want to hurt anybody, but those idiots with torches were always chasing him up and down the hills. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to have a monster who's a good guy? But then I figured, well, you can't just have a monster running around all the time. So then I remembered I had always loved Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And I thought, what if the monster turns into a regular human being? And back and forth. And the monster hates his other self. And the normal human being hates the monster and would like to cure himself of turning into the monster. So it was an inspiration. It was just scratching my head and thinking and kind of working it out.